Joining us for an all-out preview of next week's Pacquiao-Ugas fight is sports writer Josh Planos. And he is coming to us live from Nebraska. Josh, welcome back to Sports Desk. It's good to hear your voice once again, sir.
Good to be here, Andre.
Your reaction to this sudden change from Errol Spence Jr. Now Manny will be facing your Dennis Ugas.
Well, it's been a brutal summer to be a boxing fan, Andre, but I'm equally disappointed and grateful. Disappointed because we were all so excited to see Manny try to earn one of the best ever wins for a fighter over 40. And also grateful because it's sort of by chance that Errol Spence's eye injury was even caught in that pre-fight evaluation. You know, that could have gotten really ugly if he had walked into the ring without knowing the situation, especially given Manny's abilities. It's easy to look at what Manny did to Antonio Margarito's eye in 2010 and think that could have very easily happened again. So, we're obviously all hoping that Errol Spence, returns to form, in due time. But for now, Manny still has a world championship fight in his hands.
Well, what should we know about your Dennis Ugas? Of course, he's from Cuba. Is he a tougher opponent compared to Spence, you would say? They have different stances, right?
I wouldn't call him a better opponent. Ugas comes, like you mentioned, out of that Cuban mold, like Rigo or Luis Ortiz. So he's a defense first, counterpunching expert. He's also an Olympic medalist. This guy is going to be a really good fight. He's not a big hitter. Just 12 of his 26 wins have come by way of knockout. But he's slick in the ring, and he's going to dance, and he's going to make things difficult on Manny. Guys like him have historically given Manny difficulty in the ring. Guys like Juan Manuel Marquez, Floyd Mayweather, Eric Morales, all of those guys were counter punchers and they were patient in the ring. So this has the makings for a good fight in its own way.
What do you think is his advantage over Pacquiao? Of course, age would probably be there, but he's younger. But do you think that the orthodox fighting style would be one of his advantages? Because Manny has been training against the southpaw for so many weeks preparing for Spence, but of course, Manny is still Manny.
Right. I mean, they're both kind of in the same boat, right? Because Ugas was prepared for, the opposite type of a fight, and Manny was prepared for the opposite type of a fight. So I guess they're going to kind of meet there in the middle. Like you mentioned, Andre, Manny has gotten pretty used to being the older guy in the matchup. Ugas is 35. Spence was 32. So in a way, he's, they're getting closer to the same age, but certainly Manny's going to have his work cut out for him. Ugas is definitely in the prime of his career and is, he's going to have that size advantage as well, the height and the reach.
Okay, Josh, before we continue this conversation, first let's find out the answer to our, you know what this is, Josh, quiz question of the day. Again, the question I asked was, Manny Pacquiao has won 62 fights in his illustrious professional boxing career. Now, what is his longest win streak? Josh, back to the hot seat, my friend.
Let's say 23.
23. Buddy, the correct answer is 15 straight wins. Pac-Man won 15 consecutive fights in 2 occasions, actually. The first one was between 1996 to 1999. He then also tallied another 15-match win streak from 2005 to 2011. But I would have guessed the same number as you did, Josh. You will be flying to Las Vegas, right, next week to watch that fight, Ugas-Pacquiao. Personally, how excited are you to just watch this fight and watch Manny back in the ring for over 2 years?
Yeah, I'm ready to roll, Andre. I mean, there aren't many things in sports as big as a Manny Pacquiao fight in Las Vegas. Obviously, the Philippines travels very well to support him in all of his fights. But we've also learned to not take him for granted. We don't know when or if he'll fight again after this. So it's best to enjoy the spectacle and the performance in the moment. Again, we're talking about an all-time legend who at 42 is still in tip-top shape and kind of rewriting our expectations of what to expect from a fighter in the twilight of their career.
Your fearless forecast for this Pacquiao-Ugas fight. Who wins, via what, and if it's a knockout, in what round?
I like Manny by split decision.
Okay.
I didn't think that he would get past Errol Spence, but I do think that he has enough in the tank to get through Ugas. Like the Keith Thurman fight, Manny could land a knockdown or two, maybe even finish it early. But I do think Ugas has been waiting his whole life for a fight like this.
Oh, yeah,
and,
for sure.
I've learned to never underestimate, that kind of, momentum. He's been, waiting for this chance to potentially end Manny's career, but I think Manny gets it done in the end.
Well, Josh, drop your boxing gloves and get your basketball jersey because Josh Planos will still be with us after this quick break. Later, Josh and I will talk about the NBA offseason so far. A lot of things happening in the offseason. You're watching Sports Desk only here on CNN Philippines, where we go all out for the day's top sports stories. Stay tuned. We're back. Thank you for joining us here on Sports Desk only on CNN Philippines. We still have with us today sports writer Josh Planos live from Nebraska. And now we're going to talk about the NBA after we just touched on that Manny Pacquiao, your Ugas fight. Okay, Josh, last time we had you here on Sports Desk was during the NBA Finals. And that was just 3 weeks ago, my friend. And since then, several NBA teams have been very busy. Unfortunately, we can't cover all the moves, but let's touch on some of the big ones, Josh. Let's start with the Claw, Kawhi Leonard. He just signed a deal to stay with the LA Clippers. Your thoughts are, what did you expect that to happen? Because the rumors were saying that Kawhi might probably be on the move.
Yeah, I've learned to expect the unexpected with Kawhi Leonard, and that's because nobody seems to know anything about what that guy's intentions are. Obviously, it's great news for the Clippers. I'm sure they were very worried when he opted out of his deal. He had that player option. But to sign him up for 4 years and that $200+ million number, I think is really great news. Hopefully he can get back to the court soon because obviously he's been dealing with some injury issues for now a number of years. But he's one of the best in the game when he's available. And I'm sure the Clippers are really banking on him being available this season.
How about the LA Lakers? Locking up not one, but two big names, Russell Westbrook and Carmelo Anthony, teammates again after being teammates in OKC a few years back. And then there's Wayne Ellington getting Dwight Howard back, then Kendrick Nunn. But everyone's talking about the age of this Laker lineup. Most of their players here are over their 30s. Melo's 37, LeBron's 36. Then you've also got veterans, as I mentioned, Dwight Howard's back, Trevor Ariza's back. Then you have big Marc Gasol. How big of a concern should this be for the purple and gold, Josh?
Yeah, Andre, I'm sure the Lakers, I'm not sure they'll even be able to stay up late enough to play their games given their age. This looks like a team that might lead the league in early bedtimes and load management. But it's also a roster that, like you said, in Dwight, LeBron, Gasol, Westbrook, Melo, and Anthony Davis, has 6 future Hall of Famers. So yes, age is certainly a concern, and I'm sure that they will do their best to pace themselves throughout the regular season. But if I've learned anything over the last decade, it's to never count out a LeBron James-led team, and I'm not going to start right now.
Now let's go to the Miami Heat. Well, they're getting Kyle Lowry after his illustrious career in Toronto. What do you think of that move, getting a legit all-star point guard with Tyler Hero there, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and that Heat organization?
Yeah, I think it's a great move, Andre. Assuming that Lowry is healthy, he's about to join a team that has championship-level aspirations. His shooting abilities and leadership will be immediately put to use, and if Bam can take that next step forward in his career, this is going to be a team that's going to make a deep postseason run. I checked before we got on air, and there are at least 5 videos online dedicated to Kyle Lowry's weight. But the joke's going to be all on them because we're about to see Kyle Lowry get in the best shape of his life. Miami has the strictest expectations and rules for its players physically. So I think a slimmer Lowry is in store, and that's a threat for the entire NBA.
Yeah, that stuffy Lowry. I've been seeing that too. But you're right. He's gonna surprise a lot of people there down in South Beach. Meantime, let's go back to the West. Talk about Luka Doncic. What a stellar campaign for Luka, for Team Slovenia in the Olympics. But choosing to stay here in Dallas, were you surprised? Did you expect that?
I was a little surprised that he was so willing. But again, when you see that type of money being thrown around, it's pretty easy to make your decision then. For sure. It's like Mark Cuban once said, whatever Luka wants, Luka gets. Yeah. He was incredible throughout the Olympics. He got that team that had never been there at all to the bronze medal game. And given his age and performance up to this point, I think if you were starting an NBA team from scratch, Luka Doncic should have to be one of the first 5 players you'd hope for
sure.
if you were in that situation. So give him the money and keep him in Dallas as long as you can if you're the Mavericks.
Yeah, if I'm as rich as Mark Cuban starting a team, I'd get Luka Doncic as my first player on that team for sure. It is still a long off season, Josh. We still could be in for a lot of surprises, and of course, we're still waiting on what's next between Ben Simmons and the Philadelphia 76ers. That ongoing saga, Josh. We know that Simmons' time in Philly is most likely over. I'd like to think that. Where do you see Ben Simmons going, and where is he a good fit, basically?
Well, I'm glad you brought him up. Sometimes you can just tell when someone needs that change of scenery.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly where Simmons is this summer. Doc Rivers didn't exactly comfort him in the media after that tough playoff exit. I'd really like to see him link up with a player like Damian Lillard in Portland, or even in Chicago with Lonzo Ball and DeMar DeRozan. If he were to get swapped for like Zach LaVine, I think both of those teams would really allow him to maximize his skill set and hopefully. He's working on that jump shot, because until he starts taking jumpers in NBA games, people like you and I are going to continue talking about how he needs to do that to add to his game. So hopefully he's working on that, and hopefully he finds a new place, to play next season.
Yeah, hopefully Ben realizes that the game of basketball is about shooting the ball in the ring, right? Pikachu back in college. Josh, as always, it's been a pleasure, my friend, and still a pleasure. And looking forward to talking to you once you're in Las Vegas for the Pacquiao-Ugas fight. Thank you, Josh. Stay safe, my friend.
Thank you, Andre. Take care.
Have a great weekend. Again, we just had sports writer Josh Planos live from Nebraska. Now,